It's now time for the NBA play-in tournament. The playoffs are back for the National Basketball Association after a very long and grueling season. It's going to be another great play-in. We got some great matchups this year in the West and in the East that are going to be really enticing. So let's get right into it. Of course, if you guys don't know how the play-in tournament works, in both the East and West, you're going to have the number 7 seed and number 8 seed face each other. The number 9 seed and number 10 seed will face each other. The winner of 7 and 8 goes straight into the playoffs as a number 7. The loser of 7-8 plays the winner of 9-10. And in that game, whoever wins that, they become the number 8. So it's quite simple on both sides. So let's take a look at it. For the first matchup, we have the number 7 seeded Lakers taking on the number 8 seeded Timberwolves. And I think this is really the most exciting and the biggest matchup. The Lakers ended up making the play-in actually quite easily, thanks to the heroics of Anthony Davis. Even though LeBron James is injured with his lower body injury, I think the Timberwolves, they're one of the more exciting teams in the NBA. You have Anthony Edwards. They call him Ant. You also have Karl Anthony Towns, Cat. So it's a pretty interesting team that they got there. And then Rudy Gobert. He's been in the news quite a bit, some altercation with one of his teammates. But he's the center. He's still great at rebounding and doing what he does. The Lakers are at home and they should be favored. They missed out on the playoffs last year. They're back. LeBron at 37 versus the Jazz. A couple nights back, D'Angelo Russell, former Timberwolves, and now playing for the Lakers. That should be fun to watch and versus his former team. Lakers have depth this year. That's the reason why they've been able to make it. And as a number 7, when some people thought they may not even make the play-in, Rui Hachimura has been great for them. You add in Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, undrafted. He has been incredible for them. He's been averaging 20 points per game so far in April. Anthony Davis, of course, has been averaging 28 points per game in March. So they're on fire. They're heading on the right track, and that's what you want to see if you're the Lakers. And I am picking the Lakers by 5 in this one. I think they go straight in as a number 7, and I believe they'll be facing the Grizzlies in the first round, in my opinion. So that means the Timberwolves got another opportunity and play the winner of this New Orleans versus Oklahoma City Thunder game. The Thunder are their 10 seed. Somehow they made it with a losing record. The Pelicans are interesting as well, but they have some really interesting players on the Pelicans. CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram, of course. OKC, really great story for them. I just don't think they'll be able to beat New Orleans in a win or go home earlier today. The Lakers game is at 9 o'clock tonight, Central. And now let's move on to the East. The number 7 seeded Heat, take on the number 8 seeded Hawks. I think that's a great game. That's a game you typically see in the playoffs. Both teams are great. Both teams made the Eastern Conference Finals in the past couple of years. The Hawks made it 2 years ago. The Heat made it last year. I think it's a great team. Both are great teams. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, of course. Those two are great. Bam Adebayo is back, and that team just has a lot of playoff experience for the Miami Heat. You add in Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love off the bench. Those two veterans off the bench. Just so much experience. And you add in Victor Oladipo, who just got back from his injury. The Heat team has shown an ability to get it done in the past. So I think they're a team that can go really far, and I think they do squeak by the Hawks, but I think the Hawks have a lot of potential. Trae Young, of course, he had 27 points and 20 assists in his last game. John Collins, Clint Capella, of course, DeAndre Hunter, DeJounte Murray, and Bogdan Bogdanovic. They're all really, really great. So, they have a lot of depth. Okongwu, Sadiq Bey. So they have guys who can step in there and deliver. And I think that's why the Hawks they're not going to be the Heat, but I think they will end up winning this play-in and getting that number 8 seed. And in the other matchup, we have the Chicago Bulls taking on the Toronto Raptors. The Bulls are number 10, and the Raptors are number 9, I believe. But I am going with the Bulls in that one. I think the Bulls are an interesting team. We have Zach LaVine, haven't had Lonzo Ball for some time, but Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan, Pat Bev, Alex Caruso. Got a solid team right there, and I think they'll beat the Raptors by 4, but I think eventually the Hawks will end up beating the Bulls in that second round of the play-in tournament because the Hawks lost to the Heat, the Bulls won, so then the Bulls play the Hawks. I think the Hawks end up getting that number 8 seed like they are before, and the Pelicans, like you mentioned before, I think they move on They beat OKC, and then they have to face the Timberwolves, who in my opinion will lose to the Lakers tonight. And I picked the Timberwolves to make it as a number 8. The Pelicans, they don't have Zion. If they had Zion, who knows what this season could have been for them. I think Trey Murphy's been really good. Their top pick in the draft this past year was really good for them. But I think it's going to be the same number 7 and number 8 for both teams. I just don't think the 9-10 winner is as strong as the 7-8. Both the 7 and 8 teams are really, really good this year. So I think it's going to stay the way it is. Although I really love the play-in. It's a great addition. Adds more games to the NBA, of course, what they love. But I think it's great for the fans as well. And I think it's great to see these matchups and, give a chance to some of the seeds that may have been just out of the tournament. So it should be fun tonight.